Which is an interesting point. In the recent elections in the US, both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are saying we will not tax tips. Is that a red flag to you somewhere?
No, I think that, like there's a lot which is being said in the campaign, which appears populist and stuff like that. I think the bigger red flag for me, what's happening in America today is this, that both the candidates today are making tons of promises and they're completely oblivious to what their deficit and debt situation is.
6% of GDP, unknown.
6% of GDP in the middle of an economic recovery.
Right.
You get 6% deficits if you have a sharp depression or a war.
War, yeah.
But you're getting 6% in the middle of an economic recovery out here. Can you imagine what the deficit will be when you actually have a downturn? It'll be 8, 9, 10% of GDP. So that worries me, that they're both making promises with complete impunity and there's no talk about it, because the arrogance now in America has become that we can spend as much we want, we can run whatever deficits we want, no one's going to be able to put
people
money
will always buy dollars.
People will always buy dollars, people will always be here.
That's a myth, right? That sometime the reserve currency status can also change.
It's happened in the last 600 years. Every 100 years it's changed. Before
Great Britain, Portugal, France.
Yes, you know the list. Spain, Dutch before that.
Right.
So it's happened every 100 years. So they're taking that for granted now because there's no alternative, and they've been aided by the fact that contenders such as China are, like in possibly worse position than even America is today. Closed markets, and even they're facing such a big headwind of debt and demographics. It's very hard for them to grow very rapidly from that pace, and they have a closed system. So anyway, so I think that's the issue there. But what concerns me about America in the next year or two is that they're really tempting fate here by saying that in the past, we would run budget deficits of 3% of GDP and we could ignore them. Now let's try 6% and let's see what happens. And if on this path, it could even be 7%. So they're really beginning to test.
We'll have to wait in America for the bond vigilantes to come back. They will put the government back into shape.